Yo, what is up, guys? This is Troy D from the Troy D 24/7 Mall channel, your source for on point and no hype reviews. We are back again, everybody. We're back with another fragrance review right here, guys, on my lovely day off. Now, today we're back at designer fragrances, and today I will be talking about a 2026 designer fragrance release that has been getting a lot of good remarks, a lot of good feedback from the community, and was highly recommended by one of my favorite decanters, Jared Miller. So today I will be giving this designer fragrance a no hype treatment, and I will give you guys a full breakdown on this no hype. Let's go. Now, before I continue, please do not forget to like and subscribe, guys, okay? Liking, subscribing, and watching the ads is a great big deal to this channel as we head towards 28,000 subscribers. So please continue all your support, guys. Deep dive into my over 900 no hype videos and help us by shopping at our affiliate links below and with our decanters that help us out sending the samples. Thank you so much for all your support. And the fragrance that we'll be talking about today is none other than the latest coming out of the house of Givenchy. This is none other than Givenchy Gentleman Society Sport Eau de Parfum. Yes, Gentleman Society Sport Eau de Parfum. And quick disclaimer, this is the first time that I will be reviewing anything from this lineup. But as far as my research goes, it seems like this Gentleman Society lineup is pretty good. A lot of people are giving it really good marks, and this one is no different. This one has been getting, like I said, a lot of positive reviews in the fragrance community. And of course, one of my favorite decanters who sent this over, Jared Miller, actually recommended this to be the first out of the bunch that he sent. And I do want to thank Jared, and I hope you guys know him already by now and check out his Facebook or his list. He's got this crazy list of decants of all these really great fragrances, designer, niche, even oud, like even eccentric stuff. He has it. And I gotta say, there's no one that releases them as much as Jared. The amount, I mean, by the time that I got this pack of awesome scents from him, he already brought out another 5 or 6 new awesome perfumes. And I was just like, oh my gosh, there's more out there. So definitely hit up Jared, one of my favorite decanters in the game. I will link him below. Thank you, Jared. Okay, so what is up with this fragrance right here, and what are we looking for in this review? First and foremost, when it comes to designer perfumes, the thing I look for is redundancy. And unfortunately, when I try a lot of these designer scents, even now that it's 2026, I mean, there are a lot of like redundant perfumes. Like once you smell them, you've smelled them last year and the previous year. And you know that some of these designer companies are just literally recycling, either the notes or the formulas and just putting them in a different bottle. And that sucks, actually. And it sucks to, hype a fragrance that's actually super redundant instead of being honest about it. So that's one of the things I do look out for when it comes to designer fragrances, something that I will be honest about this in my review of this. And of course, the other thing is the word sport, right? Because this says sport in it. And when we think about sport, I mean, at least for me, I had Polo Sport, I guess, when I was younger. And Polo Sport, I got to wear it as kind of like an active type of perfume, a mood enhancer, feel-good perfume that I could take throughout the day. Whether, I'm doing, gym or, going out or just hanging out, my Polar Sport would always be there, right? And the thing is, with the name Gentleman Society, there's a little hint of like upscale in there, right? And Givenchy is an upscale brand. When I think about Gentleman Society, I'm thinking about formal, gent scent, upscale grabber. So adding the sport there is kind of interesting, and that is something that I will address in this review. Anyways, enough of the talk. Let's break this down for y'all. Let's go spray this thing right now. Okay, guys, now let's talk about this fragrance right here, the latest Givenchy release for 2026. Gentleman Society Sport Eau de Parfum. Now, this opening right here, I quite like, okay? And I'll tell you all about it. This intro right here, it starts off with the notes of lemon and petitgrain. You have sparkling, mood-enhancing lemon, but it's flanked by petitgrain, which has citrusy and green natural nuances, kind of giving this natural cologne-like smell while giving you a burst of citrus, a burst of lemons. And this is quite the mood enhancer that that I think, okay, if you're gonna spray a sport perfume, definitely you must have some sort of startup mood enhancer. And that's exactly what this does. But the thing I like about this is that it wasn't just like lemon bergamot, the classic stuff that's in almost every other designer scent. They went with petitgrain, therefore giving you this like Amalfi Coast inspired type of smell. Smells very natural and cologne-like. And again, it is different. It's going to be a little bit different than your classic lemon bergamot designers, but that natural smell is very nice. It's also light in a way. It's almost like just light. It's perfect for active lifestyles because it's light, it's mood enhancing. I like this intro right here. Now, eventually, guys, you are gonna get the, well, common designer notes of clary sage and lavender. But one thing I will tell you is this, is that the one thing I like about this fragrance right here is that it comes very gradually. These aromatic notes are subtle, and the way that they come in to kind of like thicken this fragrance, add more body into it, is actually gradual. So again, initially, you have that nice lemony blast with that cologne-like petitgrain with a little bit green right there, some bitter greens, and then eventually the lavender, the clary sage slowly comes in. And that's quite different because a lot of these other designer scents come in heavy with lavender and clary sage. They come in heavy from the get-go to where when you smell it, you're like, man, I've smelled this everywhere in almost any designer scent. In this intro right here, you get the natural smelling lemon Amalfi Coast cologne type smell, and then gradual appearance of clary sage and lavender. I like this because it's very subtle, it's light. I'm not saying it's not powerful, but it's light to the feel. It's great for the mood. And again, if you're like up and doing stuff, this type of intro will definitely get you there. Now on top of that though, because it's got the subtleties, because it's got the Amalfi style like petitgrain smell, the cologne smell, plus these very subtle aromatic notes, that's where that gentleman society comes in. It does smell like an upscale fragrance though, even if it's simple like lemon, petitgrain, and aromatics. Because it's subtle, because it's not heavy and in your face, right? I think that there's a subtlety there that is also used by niche fragrances, to kind of show grace, class, and upscale qualities with this intro right here. Now, another thing too is that this gets compliments, okay? This fragrance, I know that clary sage and lavender placed in designer scents will naturally get you compliments, but it's the fusion of that and the mood enhancer intro, which is going to be like a 1-2 punch, which I think the wearer, or at least for me, I totally enjoyed. I liked that upscale cologne smell, but then of course once the clary sage and lavender slowly kicked in, there goes the compliments. Okay, you walk in an elevator, compliments. You go into the office, well, at least for me, the hospital, compliments. I guarantee you we'll get a lot of compliments here, which is a no-brainer. But at the same time, you yourself, the mood, it feels active. It feels on the go. It feels upscale. That is what I got on this intro right here. Okay, now let's talk about initial sillage and projection of Gentleman Society Sport. This one right here has a nice sillage, and it might not feel like it because it feels light. Like I said, it feels airy and light and aromatic. But this one right here, you can tell because of the compliments that you will get as you're moving around with this fragrance. Again, you walk into an elevator, somebody could be like 5 feet away and could smell you. You walk into a room, you'll get compliments. You'll see that although it's light, it still will hit people, which is perfect. Like I said, it is the fusion of that plus you feeling energized by the citruses and the petitgrain, which is really the killer for the intro for me. Okay, so now let's head into the mid of Givenchy Gentleman Society Sport Eau de Parfum. Now, I loved the intro, okay? Again, a fusion of energizing, mood enhancing with upscale qualities and of course compliment getting qualities. And again, that gradual intro of the aromatic notes that doesn't make this smell redundant to other things. Well, I appreciated the mid actually a lot more in this scent because again, there's not a lot of redundancy. Usually a lot of these scents go into some sort of spicy tangent, you know, whether it's like pepper or nutmeg or cardamom. But this one right here went with a beautiful combination of narcissus, vetiver, as well as a mild amount of orris. And I gotta tell you, this mid is great as well. Narcissus is this honey smelling floral. So it's like honey, sweet, but it is not thick, it is not heavy. It's the right amount of honey floral sweetness mixed with also the right amount of vetiver, which is usually like a base note, right? But the vetiver right here is nice, grassy, smoky, woody even. And it's again the right amount where you don't feel the thickness. And, you know, I guess that's the, you know, the goal of making this fragrance is to make it an active and sporty type of perfume, that it's not thick, it's not gradient, it's not fade to black, but it's the right amount of sweetness from that narcissus and the vetiver. And the orris is only a mild amount, but you can feel the comfort there as you're smelling this blend with the vetiver and narcissus with the slightly powdery orris in the mid right here. And again, for me, this is a winner. This mid is really nice because it's gentlemanly. You have vetiver at the forefront with a non-amber honeyed floral, which is narcissus, and then some comforting orris. So, you know, it's very, very nice. This is, I would say, the gentleman part of this perfume. It's very gent scent. It's very wearable. Like, you know, I wear this and I'm thinking like, you know, high-powered executive in the office, right? But it's very gentlemanly, very nice. And again, the right amount where there's no thickness, there's no gradient. It feels, again, very active, like an active wear type of perfume, but still very upscale. This is the part where it goes upscale. Okay, so now let's head into the dry down right here of Givenchy Gentleman Society Sport Eau de Parfum. Now, I'm going to be honest, a lot of the power of this fragrance is on the beginning to mid parts. And the dry down feels like a woodier continuum really of the mid set up by the honeyed narcissus. And it is continued on by some amber woods, okay? And it's also flanked by patchouli. There's a slight gradient there. There's some musks. And then you also have vanilla, which is very slight and powdery. It's kind of like a continuation from the orris. The orris has some subtle sweetness and comfort, and that's continued on by that very subtle vanilla. But mostly this dry down is going to be amber woods, okay? It's going to be amber, the sweet honeyed amber. That's going to continue on the trend from the narcissus, and it's going to be a lot more woodsier. But again, because the strength of the dry down, which happens after like 6 hours, isn't even comparable to the first and mid parts, which is natural, but because it seems a lot of the strength is there, the dry down is just a subtle, sweet and woody dry down on this fragrance right here. Okay, so what do I think of this fragrance right here? Givenchy Gentleman Society Sport Eau de Parfum. I'm thinking about getting a bottle, all right? I'm thinking about getting a bottle, seriously, guys. And the reason why is because, first and foremost, the redundancy factor is pretty much not there, you know? I mean, although you are gonna see the clary sage and lavender in there, this actually, as a designer scent, goes into a very niche-like, upscale, Amalfi-inspired cologne intro with very gradual, slight aromatics that kills with the compliments, energizes you, feels active, but is also upscale and gentlemanly at the same time, with just the right amount of honeyed sweetness, just the right amount of vetiver, comforting notes like orris, musks. I mean, what's not to like? At least for me, you know, with my age, I mean, this is not the polo sport that I used to wear when I was younger, but this is something that I, as a 40-year-old, a dad, a business owner, somebody that's active, right? This is something that I would wear that brings the gentleman out, as well as, you know, that upscale quality, while feeling like an active perfume, right? With no gradients, nothing like that. It doesn't get deep and dark by any means. So I'm liking this, really, guys. And so now I understand why a lot of people like this perfume. It's really a combination. Of course, I don't really give a damn about, compliments. But also, I have to say that this fragrance is one of my most complimented perfumes, and it's very subtle at how it does it. It is light and, airy, and it's not heavy. It's really a nice perfume, guys. Again, not only for the wearer, but also for the people around you. I think people will appreciate this perfume. Now, usage-wise, guys, this fragrance is definitely very versatile. That's one of the strong selling points of the fragrance, is the versatility. Why? Because it could be a dumb reach fragrance. It could be a mood-enhancing fragrance. It could be something that you can wear just on the go, but at the same time, because you're a gentleman and because you're an upscale guy, it works, right? It works all together. And if you actually choose to wear this in an upscale situation, there wouldn't be a problem with that. If you are going to be in the boardroom talking to a bunch of executives or selling a multi-million-dollar home, this would be a nice fragrance to wear because it's non-imposing. It's great for the wearer. It has this gentleman feel, but at the same time gets you some compliments and good feedback from people around you. A lot of versatility on this one, which makes this one a hit to me. Okay, now total performance on this one, guys. This is probably the one chip on the shoulder of this fragrance right here. Why? Because it's not super long lasting. I give it 10 hours, okay? And like I said, it's because by the time you get to the dry down, it's not a thick dry down. The whole fragrance is not intended to be thick. Therefore, they didn't infuse the dry down with a lot of notes. They kind of made it very subtle and woody and slightly sweet, but not heavy, right? So with that being said, I got to smell it up to 10 hours, maybe some lingering smells at 11, which doesn't really matter to me. I mean, for me, as long as I get 8 to 10 out of an active perfume, because once I spray this, I'm already expecting to be on the move, right? So with that being said, that's okay to me with a designer active wear type of perfume. That's okay. 10 hours. Okay, so now let's look at the cost of this fragrance right here. And I gotta say, this one is pretty cheap. $155 for a full 100 ml bottle is a no-brainer for this, okay? And I'm really glad that they priced it as that, because a lot of these designer scents are going up to the 200s. This one here is under 200, 155 for 100 ml. Now, if you have a lot of fragrances, again, my suggestion, either try this from Jared at even cheaper, okay, or get a 10 ml, okay? If you have a lot of designer scents already, you want to kind of insert this in your collection, get a 10 ml decant. That's a lot of usages, a lot of sprays from Jared Miller. Hit up the link below. But I mean, I get it if you guys feel like getting a full bottle, because the price is amazing for a full bottle worthy scent, no doubt. And that is it. That is my no hype review on the latest Givenchy Gentleman Society Sport Eau de Parfum. Let me know in the comments below what y'all think of this fragrance right here. I'm sure a lot of you guys starting to follow me, watching all these designer fragrance reviewers, and you've probably seen the no hype brand now. I would like to know your feedback. I mean, there's no right or wrong on the feedback as long as you don't attack anybody else, giving the feedback, as well as myself will allow it right here on this channel, okay? And there's gonna be a lot more designer perfumes because, again, Jared sent me a whole bunch, so can't wait to review these things. And tomorrow, we're gonna review, hopefully, the new unreleased Tom Ford that's soon to release, I think mid-March or end of March. I can't wait to talk about that as well. Again, surprisingly similar intro to this, Amalfi style intro. I'm gonna talk about that tomorrow. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys. I have a whole playlist of designer scents that I've already reviewed. If you guys wanna check that out, I'll link it at the end of the video. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. God bless, take care. Peace.